You're back in open session. Our next item is community. Do we have any citizens with citizens comments? Please step forward. Yes, it should be on. State your name and address, please.
Dr. Jerry Brown, 1390 State Route F. I do have one quick question. I noticed on the approval of the minutes for June 20th, it stated the next meeting for this date on the 18th was going to be 5:30. It's actually started at 5, so that was just a little incorrection. Got two questions. One about Bill 2024-21. It does say attached Exhibit A. I haven't seen the attachment on this ordinance. And on 2024, Bill 2024-22, a question on this 319, 312, and 401. These are changed from to a light industrial. I always thought that had to be contiguous piece of property. Is that correct or incorrect?
I would direct that to you, Administrator.
Well, it shows it's going to, they asked me to change C1 to I2. It's 319, 312, and 401 historic. Those are not contiguous pieces of property.
It's 319, 321, sir.
Yes, 319 through
321.
321.
Well, then the ordinance is wrong. It says 319 and 312. So that ordinance needs to be changed. Correct, too.
What I have has 321, so I don't know.
Well, I got ordinance I picked up in your table up here. It says 319, 312, and 401. And the same thing goes here. They said there's an Exhibit A. There's no Exhibit A attached to this. And this is just a kind of question for the City Council. How many drive through your wards and see the shape of the forest? Grass? You got one, anybody else?
Absolutely.
Two?
All of us.
Because I've noticed quite a few in Ward 1. There's a lot of overgrown grass and so forth. I just wanted to point that out. I'm glad to see that some council members are going through that and checking that.
The abandoned stuff, really, at the city has to end up going in and taking care of.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Come on forward.
My name is Bailey D. Williams. I live at 21715 Ranch Road. That's in West Waynesville, Missouri. My question is quite simple. I don't like the way the city looks because of the fact that I'm living in Waynesville, and it looks like every day the grass needs to be cut. My question to you is, would I go to jail if I decide to cut the grass for the city?
I would ask, where specifically are you talking about?
I'm talking about Highway 17 that goes through the city of Waynesville. I just drove from Brentwood Terrace to here. I mean, I used to like to walk that route, but now I'm not walking because Jake and the other folks like to walk. That's a snake and fish all on.
Yeah, I think that's MoDOT, right? They're the ones who mow it? Yeah, so do we know what their mow schedule is, like twice a year or something?
Twice a year.
Twice a year.
So you said that the city of Waynesville only cut the grass in the city of Waynesville twice a year?
No, MoDOT. So Highway 17 is a Missouri Department of Transportation road.
I understand that, but I also understand
So they
that,
cut the grass.
that MoDOT could give us a plan about whether they cut the grass in Waynesville. Like, if you drive through between here and Crawford, they don't cut the grass. All I'm saying is, I've lived here since 1985. I would love to see the grass cut. That's why I asked, could I do it?
I don't know a legal answer on that.
Sir, I would tell you, Mr. Rowden is here, and I know that in Ward 2, there was a problem with getting grass. One of the mowers, the PTO, was broke, and Mr. Rowden had his folks cut the grass I'm pretty confident that if you talk to Mr. Doyle and want to cut some grass because the city can't get to it, I don't think that'd be a problem, but, you know, hopefully we can get.
What is the rule on that?
It's not for the city to say, it's MoDOT's right away. The city can't mow without MoDOT's permission. And I would guess if you want to call MoDOT, they might give you permission to mow it.
So you said that Waynesville had nothing to do with Highway 17 coming through Waynesville?
Correct. It's state property.
Let me ask you a question. If I have an accident on Highway 17 going through Waynesville, what authority comes there to take care of that?
Well, so on that,
Is that a state highway?
it is a state highway, so
They
city,
call the state trooper?
so city
My
police.
mother had an accident there, and yes, they
City
called the state
police have-
troopers.
City police have jurisdiction all throughout the state, but the highway patrol could respond to that, whereas the highway patrol could not respond in other parts of the
I've been around the world 7 times.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, state your name and address, please.
Mark Sheridan. Address on my license is 117 East Historic Route 66.
Is that where you live?
That's
Is that where you live?
Defined live.
Where you lay your head at night to sleep?
On occasion, I do that, yes. I spend more time there than I do.
So when I see your name on the internet, on Facebook, it says lives in St. Robert, that's a lie?
I have property in St. Robert.
You live up there?
Again, you got to define live.
You're full of you know what.
So I'm here to speak on behalf of another small business owner who feels very uncomfortable being here, partially because she has ongoing litigation with one of the council members, and she is afraid of retribution from the city. Sometime prior to May 24th, 2024, Ruby Ward of Business Graphics put some signage up in front of her business, saying that spot 14 was for customer parking only. Somebody from the city saw that signage, told her that she did not have permission or the right to put that up, and asked her to take it down, which she did. On May 24th, I sent a message to the city through the city website asking what the process is to get a 30-minute parking sign put on spot number 14. And as of today, we haven't received an answer, either Ruby or myself. On June 5th, I sent a letter to the city of Waynesville asking the same information. She would like to have spot number 14 designated as a 30-minute parking space, basically the same as Ursul's Jewelry, who has one, or Security Bank, which has 2. And we need to know what the process is to do that. So I'm here tonight asking for the 3rd time now, what is the process? Who do we talk to get this thing going?
You're going to answer the job.
So the process would be the owner needs to request that through the city, not the owner's friend of another business. It actually has to be requested by the business that it affects, as your requests were received, but we're addressing properties that were not owned or affected by the property that you state that you own. So if the owner needs that signage, the proper channels for the city include the roads and grounds. Come to that committee. You can request that through the city administrator's office. However, putting public parking around the square, which is obviously timed parking, and getting a request from a business owner or other who is not adjacent to that parking spot, that's not a adequate way to request a parking.
Okay,
As a
so
business owner.
it's okay to just not reply
So,
twice.
so replying to you for something that should go to her, that, yeah, there needs to be understanding that there are requests made all the time from other property owners about other properties that, those requests need to be made by that property owner if they're legitimate requests. If they are, when I say legitimate, they are actually a request by that owner.
Okay, so you were saying that she needs to come to the next Road and Grounds Committee meeting and make her request.
As the owner of that property,
Are there any
correct?
specifics that she has to have with her when she comes here?
Just the specifics as to what her wants would be for that parking in front of that business.
Okay, thank you.
Amanda, can I address the council in 30 seconds?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. 30 seconds.
I just want a clarification. Oh, by the way, Dr. Jerry Brown, 1390 Highway F.
Thank you.
You're stating, Ms. Citizen, where you lay your head at night.
Right.
Okay, that's all I want to know. It's on record.
The other thing,
It's on record.
how's it zoned? Is it zoned residential? You always want to start something once you come here and listen.
Okay. Any other citizens' comments? All right, we will move on. We have an appointment of Tyler Gross to the Board of Adjustments. I need a motion. There should be, well, we had it last time as well, but I do believe his information was put back in this packet, if there was anybody that wasn't here last month. Yeah, it's an email. Oh, did I? Did you make a motion?
I certainly did.
I'm sorry. You had a motion from Councilman Hyatt.
Well, there you go.
Do you have a second? Thank you, sir. Ryan? Hicks? Yes. It's only the second time I've seen him, so. Councilman Hicks seconded. Do you need to roll call?
Councilman Bland?
Yes.
Councilman Hayden?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilwoman Corn?
Yes.
Councilman Hyatt?
Yes.
Councilman Hicks?
Yes.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, that has passed. Welcome to the Board of Adjustments, Mr. Gross. Next is City Administrator's Report.
Okay, we're going to start the report off with a special presentation by MPUA. We have with us from MPUA Steve Stodden and Mike Seifert, and they want to present our electric department with reliable public power recognition. And gentlemen,
Thank you.
I'll let you take it from here.
Good evening. I'm Steve Stodden. I'm Chief Energy Officer with Missouri Public Utility Alliance. With me tonight is Mike Seifert, who's our Senior Power Generation Project Manager. It's a lengthy title sometimes with MPUA. And we represent around, we're a joint action agency in the state of Missouri, represent around 120 different cities who have gas, water, wastewater, electric, broadband utilities within their cities. And we are here tonight to celebrate with all of you a great recognition of all the hard work that your folks put in every single day to keeping your electric utility reliable. It is the Excellence and Reliability Award from the American Public Power Association. And as a little bit of reference, there are 12 cities in the state of Missouri who receive this award, and you're one of the 12. So if you think about what that means, you have 99.9911% reliability. So that means 99.99% of the time your lights are on in the city of Waynesville. And, you know, that happens from all the hard work of people every single day, making sure that they're doing a good job. And essentially, a utility is equipment and people. And all of our equipment's the same. The poles, the transformers, the wires, that is really all the same. The thing that makes the difference is people. And it's your people that are sitting there every single day planning, making sure they're doing the right thing. Is the governance making sure that you're passing budgets that support the work that they need to do. It's their leadership that's out there making sure their folks are doing the right thing, spending the money the right way. And, you know, now you can look at this and say, you're one of the 12 cities of Missouri that hit this threshold. So it's quite an achievement. So we're here tonight to celebrate that with you and to just make sure you understand what great staff you have in John and Daniel and all of his folks that are here making sure that happens. And whether it's Christmas Eve or Halloween, I can tell you I worked for 26 years in Springfield, and you get those calls and you jump up and you leave. And that's what these guys do every single day. So we are here tonight just to recognize that, give you an award, and tell you how great folks you have working for you.
Wow.
That is great.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Hey Daniel, how many years in a row
What?
was the electric department? How
I
many?
didn't bring that big check, wouldn't have any money in it.
Thank you for recognizing them, and thank you for bringing something positive to this meeting. That was excellent.
It was getting good.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate the kind words. I would like to say also that we did ask, that's the third year in a row that the city of Waynesville was the recipient of that award. And that is very difficult to receive that award. There's a lot of hard work on both ends. You gotta go out and plan, implement, and then when things go bad, like April 2nd, right? You got to have a staff that's willing to go out there and do what it takes to get that electric and power restored, whether it's Christmas, Sunday, whatever. So congratulations to our department, and again, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Start with the Super Bowl Sunday? Super Bowl Sunday?
Yeah,
That was a big storm, wasn't it?
yeah. It affected the internet greatly, and well, maybe I've got my storms mixed up. I think it was
No,
the
that wasn't Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah,
That
the-
was college.
playoffs when Kansas City was streamed live last year. I know our internet went down, and that was not positive. That created some distress.
That's college.
So moving on, we'll go through some of the topics and things that we have done this month. Waynesville Park Board met. Discussion topics included park assignments, totem pole dedications, and bylaw update and modifications. Old Settlers Day is July 27th, 28th, and Route 66 Hogs and Frogs Festival, upcoming events. Utility Committee, we had department updates, water, sewer, electric, and natural gas gave updates. Something important coming out of the water is the EPA lead service line inventory, LSLI. You guys will be seeing a lot of this in the next upcoming weeks and months. There is a report due to the Department of Natural Resources for lead service line by October of this year. So our initial reporting has already began. We have to complete that reporting by October, and hopefully, we got Tim up there, good. Hopefully the community that is tuned in and others that get on our Facebook or may, run across our webpage. This kind of got a little bit of activity for you. We're going to be sending out a mailer like this, okay? in this requirement, we have to make an attempt as a city to contact our users, to contact our citizens that are currently connected to our system, our water system. This attempt is going to be done through the city of Waynesville by a mailer. This mailer has questions for each user. The questions are all the same, but basically they're just trying to identify the type of piping found within your home, within your residence, and possibly your service line, which would include from the meter to the house. It's okay if you don't know. That's fine. Just put don't know. That's good. But we would like to see some type of participation. Tracy is so excited to mail these out in August. And we will be looking forward to, the responses that we get. And then if you do have any questions, you can contact Tracy, myself, or even the water department, because we will be able and glad to walk you through any of the questions that you may have on this questionnaire as it is sent. Utility Committee next is scheduled for August 5th, 3:30 at City Hall. Economic Development Committee. Business Spotlight was Rocky Top Pets. Next meeting is scheduled for August 5th at 5 o'clock at City Hall. Roads and Grounds. We discussed a TAP grant along I-Court Avenue. Again, this is a sidewalk grant within the city of Waynesville that we were successful in receiving. The next meeting for Roads and Grounds is scheduled for August 6th, 4 o'clock. Police. Emergency Services Committee. Police Department had a very nice update. Very glad to report and happy to report the city received a opioid grant through the county for a canine, and we are working through the details of that. But this kind of just come in under the radar of the meeting, and we wanted to, let you know that we were successful in that grant application. Fire department update, still doing hydrant flushing throughout the city. Emergency Services has the animal shelter, and there's something in the animal shelter that I want to read. The animal shelter, man, they cycle through a lot of animals, a lot of dogs. They're able to adopt these dogs. If you've never been able to visit the animal shelter, you should go, as these girls and guys work very, very hard at their job. And I believe it's truly a calling to work there. There's something in this letter. I put the whole letter up there. Nobody can read that. But if you see where I've made the print larger, there's 2 paragraphs within this letter that I'm going to read that I think define not only the animal shelter specifically, but really the employees of the city of Waynesville. It says, this is about our animal shelter and the recognition of excellence. This accomplishment represents so much more than just a statistic. It represents a culture of caring and compassion. It represents the tireless efforts of you and your dedicated staff, passionate volunteers, and steadfast supporters. It represents innovative, thoughtful programming, and it represents extraordinary leadership both within your organization and within our broader animal welfare movement. While 90% is by definition just a number, organizations that achieve and maintain no kill are made up of people who never forget that each tiny fraction of a percent point represents a life saved. These numbers represent cherished family members who are only alive because of your dedication and hard work. Bottom line, every day you and your team create more and more opportunities for animals and people alike to experience love. That's your animal shelter. By definition, that's what they do. Good group. Next meeting for the police committee is August 1st at 4 o'clock. That's a little bit revised. Keep putting that out there. We used to meet at 3:30. We now meet at 4. Finance and Human Resources, very busy meeting. CID's tracking maybe to at least meet, possibly exceed the highest year yet. We are currently roughly around 36,000. I guess to do a Don Hayden projection, that's 72,000 at the end of the year, which would be a record. You're teaching me some stuff, Don. Mid-year budget adjustments. Myself and Amber and Beeve worked a lot on this. We've had a lot of hours on this. So our initial budget We've had to obviously revise. Keep in mind, there's some large projects going on in the city. It's hard to know where you're going to be and when on those projects. The scheduling of construction and design and bidding and everything is really not a schedule that is easily predictable, but we do our best. So if we go through projected revenue, we have a projected revenue increase. Our initial budget showed revenues of approximately $21.3 million. Our amended budget projects a revenue of about $22.2 million with an overall revenue increase of $977,000. The projected expenses also increased. Our initial budget of $21.3 million. Our amended budget of $22.2 million with an increase of $919,000. We kind of came at the committee a little different this time with some new information as we stay busy. We wanted to kind of show projections also of what's the growth rate of the city. What's this look like? Let's look at 5 years back. Let's look at 2019 to current, right? Can you get an idea of what the quote growth rate of the city would be, will be, or is going to be? Working in great depth with Amber, she understands the budget and the details of the budget that can kind of skew true budget numbers. And when I say that, I don't want to make a play on words. When we have a budget put out, a city budget put out, we have an airport in that budget, okay? Depending upon what's going on at the airport, I know in the next year to 2 years, for sure within the next year will be heavily loaded airport, $15, $16 million project. That is reflected in our budget, but is that a true city budget? Not really, because that comes and goes. You'll do a project this year, but next year you may not. So we tried to extract the departments that would have that. And there's not a lot, but airport is one of them, which can give you a little bit of a misrepresentation of a city budget. So when we look at a city growth, 5-year growth rate, we're looking at utilities. Utilities are constant. We service the city of Waynesville, okay? That's not something that changes. So we're looking at utilities. You also look at sales tax, you look at use tax, you look at a lot of different things to kind of project these growths. So this was our first stab at trying to show projections, and we will be coming back with more. We have some more detail, kind of dive in the numbers, but for now, 2019 budget revenue, $15.6 million, expenses, $15.5 million. In 2024, same budget comparison. No airport, no, we're looking utilities, sales tax, property tax, all that. $19.9 million, expenses $19.6 million. So we're having a growth rate between 5.2 and 5.7% a year or per annum. Okay, why? Why is that growth rate? What's the cause of that growth rate? And something very, very key that we really wanted to address is you'll have maybe some residents would say, well, you've increased my utility bill. Of course. No. We've already kind of factored through that, right? So we know when and how much and at what point in time bills were increased. So we were able to extract a lot of that. Something that we know on utility that was a great impact for the city of Waynesville in the sale of these utilities and the increase and the growth of the city was the subdivision improvement program. So I wanted to kind of give you an idea of, well, what's that mean? Big picture, right? Well, we're selling more water, we're selling more electric, but to who and how do we get these additional residences? In 2019, the data wasn't available, but in 2020, there were 9 building permits applied for in that fiscal year in the city of Waynesville. Okay, in 2021, late third quarter, early fourth quarter, the city began this subdivision improvement program. We got 28 building permits in that fiscal year. We're talking January, December here. Okay? In 2022, now we're full-blown going into the subdivision improvement program. We have 53 building permits applied for in that fiscal year. In 2023, you have 139 last year. building permits applied for in the city. To date, in 2024, 6-month count, we're at 68. We want to break 150, that's our goal. Okay, so you see a really steep or sharp incline of, from 9 to 140. You will also see a slower decline, okay? So your incline or your entrance curve should be higher, as when we started installing sewer, water, electric, gas, and roadway, when that got done, the developers were building right on top of us, okay? And then keep in mind, if you guys remember the subdivision improvement program, as we continued through time, we have another developer jump in. We want to be a part, we want to build in Waynesville. So you go from 28 to 53 to 140. Well, now you have 2 developers on that program with city staff, putting in utilities, installing utilities, doing the program. And I always like to tell them, and oh, by the way, we run a city. So you're starting to see a lot of the benefits of that program now. Again, I expect, and this is just kind of a hypothesis, I don't know if this is true, but I expect the curve coming down would be slower. So I don't look for us to go from 140 building permits to 9. I really think it steps down slower, but time will tell. Next Finance and Human Resources Committee is August 1st, 5 o'clock. Planning and Zoning. We had a rezoning request from C2 to I2. That rezoning request was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission with conditions placed on the business use or the business type. Planning and Zoning also approved a plat for Phase 2 of Pinnacle Place, which is at the Summit. Next meeting for Planning and Zoning is August 13th at 5:30. Board of Adjustments did not hold a meeting. However, I do think there will be a meeting, and it is scheduled for August 7th at 5 o'clock here. I believe we do have a need for a meeting next month. Special events, Hogs and Frogs, September 20th through 22nd, and just around the corner, Old Settlers Day, July 27th through 28th.
Anyone have any questions for John?
I have 2,
Okay.
always. Did we
Just
get those?
turn your mic on so they
Oh,
can
I'm
hear
sorry.
you. Yep.
Did we get those water tests back that the DNR did?
So no, we did not receive anything on their test. We did receive our special from the main, and it was clear.
Okay.
It was clear.
Okay.
I look, Don, honestly, I look for a full report from DNR about that visit, but we have not received that yet.
Okay. And then on the rezoning, do we wait for the ordinance to ask a question about that?
Actually, we can go into council discussion on that now. So we'll just move to the next item, council discussion, and Councilman Hayden, take it away.
First, I have on the Wilson rezone. You said there were conditions. Is this more of a housekeeping? Because his business is already there.
Yeah, you're right. It's housekeeping. The business has been there for 40 years.
Right.
And the residents as well. So this isn't something that is new. What they were trying to do is, yes, housekeep, clean up the property as it has been being used for the last 20, 30 years. I don't know, it's been a long time. And the way that our building official kind of needed it zoned to fit what was going on was an I-2. And so the conditions placed on the zoning request were pretty specific as to mechanic shop, maintenance shop, because I-2 can open up different types of business use.
Right. That's why I was asking, because I don't see him being able to turn that into a little factory. I don't.
Right. Right.
Anything else?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was giving other people it too. I want to talk about Pinnacle plat, the Phase 2 plat. I have some real concerns with this. It meets the requirements for R3. but I don't know how to express my concern other than to just kind of speak out loud here. In phase one, we've had 3 or 4 variances that have had to be granted because we can't meet setbacks. These lots are no bigger, and in fact, a couple of them seem smaller from what I was looking at phase one, looking at phase two. Some of these seem like they're even a little smaller, and I'm very concerned that what's going to end up happening, because I already, John, told you about those other ones that I looked at that I feel like are pretty close. I feel like we're going to be in a pinch in a couple of months where we're going to have to look at more variances, and I'm just very concerned about it, and I don't know how to ask a question there.
So I'm trying to think how to answer the question that you don't know how to ask, but I think I know what you're talking about, and it is basically the requirement for a Board of Adjustment to give a variance or grant a variance for that type of construction.
Right.
And so to sit here and say, well, we won't, there will not be a need for that, I can't tell you that. I can tell you that the size and general size and shape of all the lots on the plat would be conducive for meeting all setbacks with the given footprint of the buildings. Now, keep in mind, some of the variances that the city went through the Board of Adjustments with setbacks were down to maybe inches, okay? So if your setback's 25 foot, the thing may have measured 23.6, of which I will tell you that the board was like, you know, that's not noticeable. But our building inspector is like, it's not 25 foot. So to say that situation won't come up, I can't say that. But I will say that in looking at the plat and working with the engineer through the city, that the footprint of the building with the given setbacks of the city, it's obtainable.
Is there a way that we can, I'm going to use the word require, when a building permit is actually applied for, that we can ensure that we meet that setback? Because I just don't think it's right to let it slide. I mean, home plate's been 17 inches since Doubleday created baseball. We've got 25 foot. It should be 25 foot. I mean, I'm with building inspectors on this.
So the building inspector and you're 25 foot from in the city of Waynesville, you're 25 foot from a line that may not truly be established at the time of measurement. And we've had some discussion, I know Don and I have, and maybe others, about the 25 foot and where it's measured from. In the city of Waynesville, 25 foot is measured from the back of curb. Typically, the curb's the last thing to go in a subdivision. You're doing sewer, water, electric, gas, you know, everything like that. The last thing you put in is the street. You have to assume that the street is going to be put in the center of a 50-foot right-of-way. However, if you do a standard 28-foot wide back of curb to back of curb road, that leaves 11 feet on each side to a property line. But what if it's 10 foot 6 inches on one side and 11.5 foot on the other? See what I'm saying? So that line, and the discussion truly comes down to where do you measure a setback from? In most cities, you measure a setback from a property line. Property line never moves. It's always there. It's the same. It's established. And a back of curb could move 11 feet one way or the other in a 50-foot wide right-of-way. So that's kind of why you wind up a little bit in a situation that one of the variances, for example, was on a radius of a curve. And the variance consisted of the building setback was met at one edge, but as that radius come around, it did not match on the other edge. And again, if you go to a property line never moves. It's stable line, it's a surveyed line, it's a described line. So some of the variances that we've seen, not just here but in other places, has truly been the result of installing that curb in a 50-foot right-of-way, 28-foot wide road, and it not being exactly centered within that roadway.
Okay. So you're not answering my non-question. We're communicating though. That's good. That's very. Okay.
There's a little easement right there too, right? On these.
So if you look, you'll have the extension of Pinnacle that runs actually between the center of the lots. That right-of-way of Pinnacle is 50 feet in width, to which the contractor will have a 28-foot back-of-curb to back-of-curb wide road.
So to clarify the non-question, non-answer, you're saying that the variances that have been requested have not been due to squeezing a house into a lot that was not the proper size?
Yes, some of the variances are of that nature, and not just here in other ones. And in talking with our building inspector, I would say that in the future, the city should start kind of maybe looking at measuring your setback from a property line or a line that does not move, regardless of where infrastructure is installed. Doesn't matter if that road's centered or if it's off a foot or two one way. That is irrelevant to a setback. A setback could be measured from a property line that is basically surveyed, stable, and never moves.
Yes, Nathan?
I'll just throw in two thoughts. The first is, the purpose of the Board of Adjustment and variances is a safety valve on the system. So that when you have these kind of problems, it sorts it out. Number two is, and I'm hearing this for the first time, the way you're measuring setbacks is terrible. Nobody else does it that way, and it's going to constantly cause you. Everyone, John, I've never heard anybody who does it that way. Everybody measures it from a property line.
This is the only city I've ever designed in as well that's did it come back.
So how do we fix that then? Because that may change all this.
Yeah, to fix that, it would be a change of zoning code.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
And to Nathan's point also, just so you guys know, your side setback and rear setback, it's from a property line, just not the front.
That doesn't make any
I
sense.
didn't write it.
That doesn't make any sense. All right, well, I guess I would just ask that our building department really pay attention because, and it's not just Pinnacle, as you know, I walk the whole city, and all the new builds, they're so close, like I've said, when you walk on a sidewalk, there's a truck parked there, you can't walk past it without going in the road. And so I would just really ask, if we're trying to make a walking safe city, which is our goal, we really, I've told you my opinion, I still think we need to change that in total to 30. I think the front from the road should be 30. I know we can't just do it, but I still think we need to consider that if we're going to have sidewalks everywhere for people to walk, because, I mean, a truck
I
is
would agree,
25 feet.
it's not attractive to have to walk out to the road.
And it's not
Because
just Mark's.
somebody's in their driveway.
It's not just Mark, and Mark, I know Mark's here, it's not just Mark's area at all. So my concerns are greater than Pinnacle, obviously.
Absolutely. We see these variances. I see them, across the city. I see them in new stuff, old stuff, remodels, looking at garages, carports, additions, all the way to new construction. The addition of a porch, that's a new setback. You just extended it closer to the road. So absolutely. No, good point, Don. Thank you.
May I address that?
No?
No? Okay.
Do you have any other questions?
No, that's it, thank you, ma'am.
Anybody have anything else for council discussion? Or did this bring up any other questions so you don't know how to vote? Do you need to answer any of your questions concerning Any discussion that's happened? All right. Well, then we will move forward with our items of consideration. I am asking for a reading of each ordinance, please, by Deputy City Clerk Tracy York.
Yes, first reading an ordinance approving an agreement between the City of Waynesville and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for Transportation Alternatives Funds, fixing an effective date. Second reading an ordinance approving an agreement between the City of Waynesville and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for Transportation Alternatives Funds, fixing an effective date.
I open the floor for any discussion on this ordinance.
Is there a number to that? An ordinance number? Is that-
Yeah,
Not
she said
until it's
20.
passed.
Pardon me?
I don't put an ordinance number on it until it's passed.
It's just a,
This is a bill.
It's just a
until
bill.
it's passed.
until it's passed.
Well, is it Bill 2024-20?
Yeah, she
Yes.
said that.
Oh, okay, I looked
Yeah.
at this guy.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, I thought that's what you were asking first, but then she was like, no, and then I was like, oh.
Sorry, Bill, I've got one giant thing.
Yeah. This is 2024-20. All right, no discussion? Call for a motion?
I just did, man.
Oh, you did?
I'll
Oh, my
second.
goodness, see?
Second.
Barnum, second. Hyatt. Roll call?
Councilman Bland?
Yes.
Councilman Hayden?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilwoman Corn?
Yes.
Councilman Hyatt?
Yes.
Councilman Hicks?
Yes.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next one, please. Ms. York?
First reading bill number 2024-21. An ordinance amending the fiscal year 2024 budget, repealing conflicting ordinances, fixing an effective date. Second reading, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2024 budget, repealing conflicting ordinances, fixing an effective date.
All right, open the floor. Any discussion? Nothing? Can I get a motion? Councilman Rice? Yes. Councilman Ryan Bland, seconds. Roll call, please.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Councilman Hicks?
Yes.
Councilman Hyatt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Corn?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Hayden?
Yes.
Councilman Bland? Thank you.
Next ordinance, please, ma'am.
Okay, 2024-22, an ordinance, first reading, an ordinance changing zoning classification for certain real estate from C1 commercial to, is that I1?
Yes.
Yeah, I2, sorry, light industrial for property located at 319 to 321 and 401 Historic Route 66 West in Waynesville, Missouri, fixing an effective date. Second reading, an ordinance changing zoning classification for certain real estate from C1 commercial to I2 light industrial for property located at 319 to 321 and 401 Historic 66 West in Waynesville, Missouri, fixing an effective date.
I open the floor for discussion
The Scrivener's error that's in the title will be changed.
at the motion.
And also, the conditions, John. I wasn't aware.
Yeah, so when you pass a rezoning ordinance, I think it's a good idea to just put the zoning minutes with that as well. As planning and zoning considers zoning, rezoning of property, or even the annexation and then the zoning of that property, I think it's a good idea because they do try to occasionally put conditions on the use of that property. So we're going from C1 to an I2, and the existing use of the property is I2 and has been I2 for 20 to 30 years. But when you throw it in I2, it also opens up that the business use to, it expands what could be used. So there was some discussion with that, and I think it's important to not only identify those conditions in your planning and zoning minutes, but also identify them within your ordinance through council. That's just my thoughts.
Are those in the planning and zoning minutes?
Yes, they were, planning and zoning minutes is basically mechanic / auto body shop with residential use only.
Okay, so you're saying that does not have to be specifically written into the ordinance?
Yeah.
But
It
you
needs, the
will.
ordinance, I would prefer to have the ordinance approved with the amendment to add the conditions
So
into the ordinance as
The
well.
conditions are an amendment, how it works?
And the title has an amendment.
Yeah, the title has a Scrivener's error in it, so that'll be fixed. But if we're going to vote, I would want it amended to read with the conditions as well.
Sounds like this might need to be postponed.
I don't think so, as long as you are all in agreement that that wording is sufficient.
Yeah, the wording is added.
If we're going to have the minutes in it. Is that what I'm hearing, that you want to put, that we should have the minutes attached?
No, the minutes,
The wording from them.
The conditions.
The conditions are in the minutes. She's wanting to take the blurb from the minutes and put it into the ordinance.
Okay.
specifying mechanic / auto body shop with residential use only.
So the motion would be to change the title with the address span that is wrong, the 319 to 321.
Right.
And to add the conditions
So
to
we're going to add a
this
section
ordinance.
3, basically? Or
It'll come, well, it will come
it'll
under
be a
section 1.
Okay. And we can pass an ordinance without that attached to it? That's a question yes?
Yes,
Okay.
as long as that's how it's stated before she
In-
calls for a motion.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Because then I put all of that in the minutes for this and.
Got it.
Nathan, is that correct, was it good that way?
I think you have to have a vote to approve that amendment.
Yes. That's what we're doing now.
Then
To approve the amendment, and then
Is-
you vote on the full
Is the
ordinance.
vote to approve the amendment to have the changes of the date span. That's the motion we're looking for now, is to approve
That.
the change with the 319 to 321 and adding in the wording of the conditions. That's our current motion.
Right. And then we'll make a.
Motion
whether or
to
not-
pass the ordinance, because those will then be in it.
I'd make that motion, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Farnum. Who seconds the motion for the change?
I'll second.
Councilman Bland seconds. Roll call, ma'am.
Councilman Bland?
Yes.
Councilman Hayden?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilwoman Corrin?
Yes.
Councilman Hyatt?
Yes.
Councilman Hicks?
Yes.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, it was read correctly, so we do not need a rereading. Is that correct? Okay, so now we can make a motion to approve the ordinance with the changes we just approved.
I will make that motion.
A second.
Okay. Councilman Hayden, Councilman Hyatt, roll call, please.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Councilman Hicks?
Yes.
Councilman Hyatt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Corrin?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Hayden?
Yes.
Councilman Bland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Our final proposed ordinance. Ms. York.
First reading of bill number 2024-23, an ordinance approving the final plat for Pinnacle Place Phase 2, fixing an effective date. Second reading, an ordinance approving the final plat for Pinnacle Place Phase 2, fixing an effective date.
I am opening the floor for discussion. Any further discussion beyond the questions we had earlier? All right, can I get a motion?
I do.
Councilman Hyatt?
Second.
Second, Councilman Farnum? All in favor? Oh, wait, roll call?
Councilman Bland? Councilman Hayden?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Corrin?
Yes.
Councilman Hyatt?
Yes.
Councilman Hicks?
Yes.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, is there any other business for this evening? Okay, we will go into council comments. We will start with you, Councilman Bland. Hayden?
I would just ask, that we pay attention and do try and get some of the grass cut, because some of us have been talking up here. There's a lot of areas in the city that need to be cut, so if there's any way to pay extra attention to that. Other than that, have a good day.
Councilman Rice?
Yes, I want to thank the electric department for 3 years in a row winning the award. That's really big. From Mr. Doyle to Mr. Sheldon, Mrs. York, and everybody else. You guys are great. Our basement's usually pretty cool in the morning. Saw 53 degrees the other morning. I'm not in charge of the thermometer or anything, or the thermostat, but electricity's working great, so thank you guys. And I also want to remind everybody about the Old Settlers Day coming up Saturday, July 27th and Sunday the 28th. A lot going on there. It's free, Civil War skirmishes and demonstrations, and a lot of fun for the kids.
Councilman Hyatt?
So Rob Rice kind of stole my glory, but sorry. I would like to compliment the animal shelter, and I always will compliment the animal shelter because they did an awesome job, and I'm all for the no-kill thing. And I always see people, I drive up and down the road, and I always see people out walking dogs. I think it's a lot of volunteers coming here as well to walk the dogs. I think it's pretty cool. Shows a lot of initiative for people to do that. Yeah. So.
What were you going to talk about?
That's it.
No, you're going to talk about something else.
Oh, no, I was going to compliment the electric company, yeah.
Good.
That's pretty impressive, 99.1%.
12 in the state.
It's a little higher in my neighborhood though, right in my streets, it's just a little bit higher.
Rumor has it.
Yeah, but no, the city did a great job whenever we had the storms and everything, and the electricity was back on rather quickly, I thought. Everybody kind of came together as a team, I think. The city is a great team, and they got things done rather quickly, so very impressive.
Very nice.
I wanted to clarify an error in the minutes from the last meeting to Chief Cordova and his folks. I was absent and I did not vote against your HMD grant. So if you let everybody know that, I appreciate that.
I'm going to say the strangest council comment I've ever heard.
What was that?
You weren't here, really?
No, it wasn't. In spirit, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, in spirit. Councilman Farnham?
Well, it is still warm out. And it's always, every year at Old Settlers Day, it's always miserable with the heat. You got these little kids, we still got the splash pad going. Great way to bring them down and look at stuff and get wet. Expect a lot of people will show up downtown, so be careful, don't run over any pedestrians. And watch out for kids. And by this time next month, I think our school will be starting again. So remember that also. Everybody have a enjoyable rest of July.
Well, I feel like everybody stole a little bit of my thunder. Congrats and thanks to our utility team. Congrats to the police on the new opioid K-9 grant. That's awesome. And congrats and thanks to the animal shelter people. That is amazing. We are a city with heart, and it's nice when an outside organization sees that. So thank you so much. Next time we're here, school will be in session. That was my next thing. So. No, you're good. So my thing was make sure that you enjoy the rest of your summer. Thank you all for being wonderful tonight as I played the role of Mayor Wilson while he is on vacation, enjoying some family time. Thank you, City. Thank you for every one of you, what you do. Thank you, Nathan, for always driving very, very far to come and support us and keep us on the right track. And to everybody out there, hopefully watching at home, be the change in this community that you wish to see.